All right. So, to start out, what is your name and how did you get started with Tomorrow's Gone?
I'm Adam Steele. Everybody pretty much knows me as Hero. Came to Tomorrow's Gone in a karaoke contest. Mark approached me and asked me if I wanted to sing for the band. And I said, well, I can't, because what I was doing at the time is I was helping a really good friend of mine accomplish what she wanted to do. And I jokingly stated if things go wrong, I would come to him. Well, as it goes, things went wrong, and I honored my word, came to Mark and said, things are bad, let's try this. And so here I am.
I'm Lane Pritchard, and Tanner and I like to think of ourselves as the co-founders. We started playing guitar about the same time, and since we started playing guitar, we said, hey man, let's be in a band. And then it took like 3 years to actually decide to be in a band. But then we finally got it going, talked to Austin, got him on board, talked to John, got him on board, and it kind of got rolling from there.
Hi, I'm Austin Carlin, and I'm the bassist for Tomorrow's Gone.
So as I understand it, you were one of the driving forces in putting the band together.
Yeah, actually, to begin with, it was Lane and Tanner, and they wanted to do a cover band. And they asked me, because they didn't know anyone else who played bass, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then eventually we wrote our first song, which was In My Head. And then we stopped being a cover band.
My name is Tanner Lynn, and Lynn pretty summed it up pretty well. We played guitar together for a long time, and we're just like, hey, let's get a band together. So we drug our feet like we always do for a while, and then finally started getting the pieces together, brought Austin in, John, experimented with some singers and some drummers, and now we're here where we're at now.
I'm Levi Firkins, and I started off in Steel Tin Man. That didn't work out too well, and Hero approached me and said, you want to audition for Tomorrow's Gone? And I said, yeah, you guys are pretty good. And so I came up here one day, auditioned, played Everlong by Foo Fighters and Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold, and then kind of just got in.
What kind of music inspires you, and what kind of music do you try to emulate?
I would say that musically my influences, very heavily blues rock, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, some Aerosmith here and there, that kind of stuff, 70s, 60s rock. Kind of gave me a little bit of a blues flair. But then as I moved on and I progressed, I started to get more influenced by post-hardcore type stuff. A lot of Mice and Men now, had some Bullet from a Valentine phase, Avenged Sevenfold I'm big into, and we've actually written a couple songs that have been very heavily inspired from them, or by them. So I guess, yeah, those are the big ones.
I grew up listening to a lot of old school Avenged Sevenfold. They're really gothcore. Been listening to metal for 2 decades. Thrash metal is one of my big influences. Kind of symphonic metal, a lot of screaming stuff. I didn't actually have any clean vocals until I started this band. I brought screaming to Moberly first and kind of spooked people a little bit with it.
Biggest influences, early on, it was mostly stuff like the Foo Fighters, stuff like that. But as we've evolved, we've gotten a little bit heavier, not so much metal, but a little heavier. We have influence like Avenged Sevenfold, Atreyu's a big one. Occasionally, we like to listen to some Papa Roach, and that kind of helps. But those are the 2 biggest ones, I think, that kind of form how we write music.
I like to think that I have the widest influence of everybody, or at least listen to the most different kinds of things in the band. I guess when we first started the band, I was very much listening to a lot of classic rock, a lot of modern rock, basically very rock-based stuff. And then, now I listen to everything from folk, indie. I listen to a lot of rap music, a lot of weird stuff too. But post-hardcore, big one for me. I really like post-hardcore music. So I kind of take everything, and I kind of have to leave a lot of my favorite stuff at the door when I come to band practice because it's not as widely accepted. But I bring what I can.
In as optimistically a state as you can say, but also as realistically as you can sort of picture yourself. Within the world of music, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years? Oh man. It's a coin flip. On one side I'll say nowhere, and on the other, as far as I can go.
Optimistic is, if I had to be both optimistic and realistic, in 5 years I would love to have a master's degree in business and be going into either entertainment business, running a venue, managing a venue, something like that, or dream job would be to work for a record company and pretty much be their talent scout. And how that might be a little bit more on the optimistic side than on the realistic, but if I could swing that, I definitely would want that.
5 years? That's a bit of a short timeline.
It is. It's exactly for that reason. I don't want to. I don't want you to be like, oh, I'll be famous. I'll be with Tooth and Nail Records. We'll be living in Los Angeles. No, I just from your perspective as the band's bassist and kind of one of the original members.
I think it'd be cool to be an opener on a big multi-band tour like Warped or something like that. You know, a lot of those bands aren't huge yet, but that's where they get a lot of their jumping off points. I think it'd be good to get to that point.
Well, optimistically, I mean, everybody wants to be a rock star. You know, I'd love to be going out and selling out venues to millions of people, CDs getting sold. That'd be sweet, but that's why it's optimistically and not realistically. It's probably not going to happen. Realistically, I'm hopefully prepping to go to Northern Alabama to go to a school, an entertainment program there, and gonna get an entertainment program in the music business and hopefully work for a sweet label. I'd like to go out to Oregon and work for like Rise Records or something. That'd be really sweet gig. And I haven't had a whole lot of experience with the business side of music yet, so I mean I'm pretty open to being a talent scout, or I may, you know, a promoter or anything in that really. I'm kind of open to all, but hopefully somewhere in the music business.
Cool.
I'll still be playing guitar. Hopefully
All right.
in a band.
Playing big venues and enjoying music as far as I can take it.
What sort of would you say influences your music in your personal life? Are you more somebody who gravitates towards trying to incorporate things? Do you feed off the sort of negative surroundings around you, or do you try to really let the positive things in life inspire you? Just what kind of things from your personal life drive your music?
Well, I would say that I'm very much a person. My philosophy is that there's no such thing as a mistake per se, but every mistake is a lesson learned. And I would say that when I write, I try to take that into consideration when I have, say, an idea for how a lyric should go or how this song should feel. Instead of dwelling on the experiences that I felt in that moment, I'll touch on that moment and those experiences to try to derive the lesson from it. And I would say that that's probably from my personal.
Early on, a lot of our songs were, to be honest, a bit sappy, a bit like love songs. But as we've gone on, there have been some tragedies here and there. We've written a couple sad songs. We've written a couple really angry songs. We've had a really dynamic change in emotion from our various experiences. Adam's had some rough times recently, and he writes a lot of our angrier tunes. I've written some of the sadder stuff, but even yet, things have been going optimistically for other members of the band, and we've written one or two songs that we're not quite finished yet, but they're a bit more up tempo, a bit more upbeat, fun to listen to.
And my personal influences, I've learned that I gain a lot of strength in singing by affected depression by outside forces. It makes me stronger. I grow stronger, faster. Since August, I've increased as a singer 250% easily.
So your personal draw is outside forces.
Outside
basically
forces crushing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a very happy person. I like to think I like to bring positive energy, good vibes. I don't like negativity, kind of a pet peeve of mine. I like to, I don't know, I haven't really had traumas or tragedies that I feel like a lot of big, artists spring off of. So I mean, I've led a pretty leisured life so far. So I don't know, try to just positivity and, look at the best of things, try to make the best song I can.
Story, just what kind of music would you yourself like to see come out in this band?
I guess you could say the angrier type, and I just really get aggressive on the drums, and it helps out when I'm angry at something stupid, something minor. I get down to it.
You as a band with your influences, where would you musically like to see the band go?
I mean, the sky's the limit, but my favorite thing about this band in particular is we have no limit of what we can do. I mean, we jump around everywhere, and I'd like to be that one group that gets out there and you can listen to a CD and there's something for everybody. There's a very angry metal song. There's the classic groove song. I mean, these boys, they're so gifted, so gifted. There's no limit. It's all diverse, and that's what I appreciate most about this band.
Yeah,
I think that the beauty of it is that because we all come from such different backgrounds, we can kind of mold ourselves into doing whatever we want to do. Personally, I would love to stay kind of with what we've got right now, stay in a hard rock kind of genre. I love this hazer right now. I would love to stay in a hard rock.
It looks great too. It's gonna be awesome.
In a hard rock genre, not too much heavier. I'm kind of a stickler for using those heavy, distorted vocals for accents as opposed to main vocals. And I think that where we're at right now, I'm liking. Maybe a little bit more complicated. Maybe Tanner and I start weaving together guitar parts here and there and making it a little bit more complex there. I think that would be a lot of fun. But as far as an entire ensemble, I think that we're where I would want to be right now.
I'm pretty happy, like, as far as sound goes, where we are now. We're adding a lot, guitars are getting a lot more intricate, the drums are sounding good, we're getting more dynamic of songs, the vocals are still sounding good, everybody's kind of doing their part in singing, we've got some screams here and there, and just as far as, like, composition goes, I really like where it's going as far as, like, heaviness and stuff. I don't know too much heavier, but I'm also pretty open to anything. I'd like to do some acoustic stuff here and there too, so, I really like the direction we're going in right now.
Why do you get tattoos?
I like tattoos. I like tattoos and piercings. I kind of like to take a defensive approach for myself to keep people that judge me. But if you get to know me, I'm a really good guy with a big heart.
Cool. And so where are you from?
I'm originally from right here in Moberly, Missouri. I think everyone else is here too, with the exception of Levi, who is from Harrisburg.
Harrisburg, okay. How did you get started in music?
My family is very musical. I have several family members in other bands from Portland, Oregon to Kansas City. I grew up around it, played trumpet in high school. I never really sang until I got into karaoke with the friend I was talking about earlier.
You, as Austin has explained to me, as soon as they started promoting for the show, you pretty much joined up. I mean, that's less than 6 weeks. That's awfully fast. I mean, do you feel like that's a bit fast, or do you feel like you're prepared for tomorrow?
Well, when I first joined Steel Tin Man, they gave me 3 days to learn the set.
Whoa!
Okay, so this should be a breeze for you.
A little bit.
If you wrote a song for one celebrity, who would it be to and what would it be about?
God damn it! Where were you doing the rest of the interviews?
James Franco. And can I hang out with you and Seth Rogen sometime? just take me with you for a day. That's all I need.
So what's been, how long has the band sort of been together in its current form?
In its current form, less than a month, because Levi came in pretty much around the time we started promoting for this next show. With our last drummer and the new singer, we've been together 5 or 6 months. Before that, all together, about 3 years.
Okay, so you met up with John, and then when John kind of withdrew from the band, you sort of filled in his place, and you mentioned that that he sort of has kept up with you and sort of teaching you a little more of the styles that he used. I mean, is he teaching you to play in the style that he did play for this band?
Not necessarily. There's some things I don't quite understand whenever I'm trying to play along with the song and everything. And so I ask him for a little bit of insight, and he helps me out with it, and it's been pretty helpful.
Okay, so is Whoops, I lost the word in my mind. All right. So it is sort of a student-teacher relationship, or would you say you're equal, sort of just exchanging ideas? How would you feel about that? How would you put that sort of relationship out
I
of
guess
words?
you could say we're equals. I'm a little bit better on my feet, he's a little bit better on his hands, and so we kind of exchange with that.
Okay, so there was a good mesh and you had somewhere to start. What is it that didn't work out about Steel Tin Man?
There was a lot of disagreements, and I just couldn't handle the people that were in it,
Okay. Disagreements musically or personally?
personally.
Okay. All right.
You want to know why I play bass?
Why bass?
That is a good story. Okay. So originally, I was playing guitar, and I played guitar for about 6 years. I played in, of all things, a death metal band as the guitarist.
He has the official
And
patchwork too. It's
I was sitting in my friend's music store. It's closed down now, but it was a pretty cool place. And I'd gotten bored, and I'd absentmindedly pick up a bass, and I started just screwing around on it. And he was sitting there listening, and I didn't know it. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're a lot better at that than you are at guitar." Really? Yeah. How much money do you have on you? Oh, $50. Give it. So I handed him $50, and he handed me a bass and said, "Get started." And ever since I've been a bassist. I played in his band a little bit as a death metal bassist for a bit before Lane and Tanner approached me with Tomorrow Is Gone, and that just kind of took off.
Do you enjoy singing with Tomorrow's Gone, even though you haven't had an extensively long background with it?
Yes, I love this band. It's my family. I love all these boys. I would do anything for them. They're good kids.